Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Podcast. This is part 3 of my 2019 Stanley Cup preview. Part 1 was myself giving out my round-by-round predictions as well as regular season awards. Part 2 featured ESPN's John Buchacross as he offered predictions for each of the series and discussed some off-season plans for some of the lottery teams. Now is part 3, and my guest is one of my favorite Twitter followers. He's passionate about his teams. He has a podcast called Hard Hits. He has his own blog, The New York Puck, in which he covers the Rangers, the Islanders, the Devils, and the Sabres. He also has a separate blog covering other sports, and that is Derek Felix. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm good. We're going to get going with our predictions for the first round. I read your piece. We have some similar picks, but except we have different number of series. Like, for example, the Islanders-Pittsburgh series. I think you picked Penguins in 7, and I took Penguins in 6, for example. Am I not wrong? Or was that right there?
Originally, I was going to go 6, but there's something about the Pens that, I don't know, it's very strange. I think they're going to actually have a tougher time.
I took the Pens in 6 because I just think that Crosby, Malkin, and company at least steal one in Long Island, and then they wrap it up at home in 6. I just don't trust the Islanders' goaltending because they really haven't been playoff tested, and Matt Murray has been playoff tested, so that was factored into this pick. I've seen some people pick the Islanders, even though Pittsburgh is the Vegas betting favorite in the series, and rightfully so, right? Does Pittsburgh deserve to be favored here?
I got to ask you one question there. You
Sure.
said that people picked the Islanders. Were those all, fans from Long Island that are over there that picked them?
No. I believe Don LaGreca took the Islanders, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I'm not saying they can't do it. I think that it's possible they can. I think that having the first round at their true home, that's a huge edge for them. They're going to get such a lift from their crowd. I mean, that place rocks. I mean, it does. I mean, I just, they better get the first game, get the momentum, get the first 2 games. Never mind that. Put the pressure on the Pens. That's what they have to do.
Yep. So I started with that series because I thought that's what you had, the Pittsburgh in 7. Islanders, good year for them. We'll talk more about Barry Trotz once we get to our awards picks. And the other series in the Metro Division, the upstart Hurricanes against your reigning defending champion Capitals. Who do you got there?
I've got the Caps.
I have the Caps too. I took them in 6.
Yeah, I took the Caps. What did I take the Caps in now? I'm trying to remember now. Wow, I can't even. Oh, yeah. You know what? I actually have that going 7 games. I just think that Carolina's a really good skating team, Madison, and I think that they can push them. It really depends on the goaltending. If is Mrazek going to be up to the task? Because your defense, they can all skate, they can all get involved. They have some real good young skaters. I went Washington because I think obviously Ovechkin, Kuznetsov, Backstrom, Carlson, Holtby, those guys are going to get them through. That's what I think.
Yeah, they're the reigning champions. I can't disrespect the Capitals, especially after finally breaking through. And good year for Carolina, by the way. How about Tampa and Columbus?
I just think Tampa is going to roll Columbus. I feel bad because I love, how much I love Torts.
Yes, you're a Torts fan.
He's classic, and I really think that people need to step back, and I think that the job he did in 2011, 2012 with that Rangers team, that was one of the best jobs that anybody could do because they weren't supposed to finish where they finished, and they did reach the conference final. Broncos' best season. Look, I really feel like Columbus, if they went up against anybody else, Madison, they could give somebody a series.
I agree.
Because they've got, but Bobrovsky's going to be under so much pressure. He's never delivered in these spots, and God, I mean, if they're having problems against the Rangers just to clinch a playoff spot, what the heck are they going to do with the Lightning? Oh my God, they better stay out of the box.
Yeah, they got to stay on the back. So I took a sweep. My prediction is that Tampa rolls them in 2 games. Game 3, I think, is like the game where Columbus plays well, but they lose in overtime, and then Tampa wraps up in 4. I won't be surprised if it goes 5. I'm probably going to regret taking the sweep, but I got to make a bold call somewhere.
You know what? I think you deserve a lot of credit. I mean, you were really behind Texas Tech. You knew what you were talking about, so
yeah, you're right.
I have to get behind some of the things that you've done. I think I went 5. I think I was nice and went 5. I just think Columbus is not disciplined, and that Stamkos-Kucherov combination on the power play, there's no better combination in hockey. Then that includes Ovechkin and Backstrom. Backstrom's Ovechkin. That includes Carlson, Ovechkin. They're just scary. And my God, I mean, you have Hedman, you have McDonough, Vasilevsky. I mean, they're just Tyler Johnson. They're a scary team.
They're very good. And then the other series in the East is my favorite, actually. Boston-Toronto. I think this is going to be the best series among the Eastern first round. What do you say about that one?
You know, I just don't see it with Toronto. I mean, yes, I think it'll be exciting. Yes, I was nice. I gave Toronto 2 games because I think they'll be competitive, and let's face it, they can score goals. And their speed could give, a guy like Chara a lot of problems. Boston's defense is not great either. I think their D really depends on Krug and McAvoy. But I just think, God, they're not going to have any answer for that line. That's the best line in hockey with the Rat, Marchand, with Pasternak and Bergeron, and then you got Krejci with DeBrusque, and they have better supporting cast. And I just think Boston's a really tough matchup for Toronto. I don't like that puck at all.
That's going to be a good series. I took the Bruins in 7, and in part 1 of this podcast, I said, as my bold prediction of the series, is that 2013 will repeat itself as Bergeron scores the overtime winner in Game 7.
I would love to see it, Madison.
That would just really be funny. Just how like the Twitter would just go berserk if that happened.
I'll give you a great scenario, just really quick.
Go ahead.
What happens if, and I think they fit us with the same amount of points, actually, ironically. What happens if somehow the Islanders get by the Pens and Tavares and the Maple Leafs go home?
Oh, wow. So if Toronto loses to Boston and if Islanders beat Pittsburgh, that would be something. There's going to be some chatter. Islanders' Twitter is going to go nuts, I'll tell you that.
They might become insufferable.
I was hoping that Toronto would fall to the wild card and the Islanders would win the Metro to have those 2 teams hook up. That would have been the best first-round series of the 8 of them if that were the case.
That if they didn't have the Division format, because I think the Pens had, I think the Islanders had more, row or whatever, or Toronto had more row. If they had went 1 through 8, I think that the Islanders and Maple Leafs would have met in the first round under the old format. Yeah,
I think they would have too. I thought I saw somebody tweet that.
Yeah, I'll check it right now. I'm just double checking. You can run to the other series. I'll just check that.
Yeah, so Western Conference, you have Calgary and Colorado. John Buchacross took Colorado in the upset. Who do you like?
Wow, he really took Colorado?
He took Colorado. I dropped my draw when he said that, too.
I know Calgary's goaltending is not the best. I understand that with British and Mike Smith. And the Calgary fans don't want to see Mike Smith there because they'll boo him. They get off him. I've seen that happen. But I just think they're such a difficult match. I mean, when you talk about what they have on that top line with Boudreaux and Monahan, most underrated, underappreciated first-line center in hockey, then you have Elias Lindholm, and then you have Matthew Tkachuk, who will be a classic player, and Giordano dictating games. And they have a lot of grit on that team, too. And I just think that Colorado's too reliant still on McKinnon. They're still relying on Tyson Barrie. I don't know how healthy Landeskog is. And, yeah, they have a couple of nice supporting cast players, but I just can't see them getting more than 1 game. I got to be honest.
I took Calgary in 6 because I just think that the goaltending's going to cost them a couple of games. I'm not a fan of Smith and Burtich. Just not. And I think that McKinnon's the best player in the series. It's always good to have the best player in the series. Toronto has the best player in their series, and I think they're going to lose. And the other team, there's another team I picked with the best player in the series to lose, too. I can't think of who it is. We'll get to it. But yeah, Colorado's the best player in that series, and I think Calgary beats them in 6.
Yeah, I agree with you that McKinnon is the best player in the series. I mean, Colorado made it interesting in the first round last year also.
Yes, they did.
They had the best player. So that's true. I mean, I don't doubt what you're saying there. I think that what I was going to say is I really think Philip Grubauer is the reason why Colorado made the playoffs, and I think he should be the guy that starts over Varlamov because he was hot down the stretch.
That's interesting. I remember Grubauer started games 1 and 2 for Washington last year and then got benched back, and Holtby got his job back, and they won the cup. That's my memory of Grubauer in the playoffs.
Yeah, I know. It wasn't the best, start for him, but he really was great down the stretch for Colorado, though.
He was great for them. And I remember they were faltering mid-season, and I didn't think they were going to make the playoffs. I thought they were done, and then they rallied and ended up making it, and Minnesota fell apart after they traded away Charlie Coyle.
I really agree. I did not think Colorado was making the playoffs. I thought they were done also. I wasn't confident of why. I actually thought possibly the Coyotes were going to somehow squeak in. And then, I was reading about Derek Stepan, our old buddy there, one of my favorite Rangers. He played with a torn MCL.
Yes, I saw that. I couldn't believe that. But yeah.
These guys will play through anything. I mean, they will play through anything. I read that Zach Parise, I just read it before from Sarah McClellan, he played with a broken foot for a while, so he was just banged around. And I mean, that's what I love about the sport. I mean, the level pain threshold.
Yeah, I remember after the Rangers lost to Tampa, Ryan McDonough, didn't he break something in his foot?
Yes, yeah. He played on 4 out of their 6 D, Madison.
Yeah.
4 out of the 6 were hurt in that series. Yandel, you had Stahl, you had Dan Girardi.
And McDonough.
And McDonough with a broken foot.
I remember that. And McDonough barely even played in Game 7. I was at the game. He barely even played. And the people next to me were like...
Oh, wait, no, I wasn't there. I was there for Game 5. That's right. You went to Game 7, and here's my quick story, my quick synopsis. I went to Game 5, and that was a strange series. Everybody knows it was a strange series.
That was the strangest series I could remember in this Lundqvist era.
It was really strange, and you just didn't know what was going to happen game to game, especially when these teams were at home. And I remember coming out of the building after Game 5 because they got shut out, and it was terrible. But the first thing I said to my brother is, my dad, I said, "You're going to win Game 6." I was just so confident. I knew they were going to win Game 6. And then they go in, Tampa, Brassard scores the hat trick and has like 5 points.
That's right. But
they do exactly what they did. Nash had a big game, and I just had a feeling that Game 7, and everybody kept bringing up the record. I think they were 6-0 in Game 7 at MSG.
Yeah.
Everybody kept talking about that. And for some reason, right before the game, I felt iffy about it. I don't know. It was just the way the series was going, and you watched the first 2 periods, and I had a very sinking feeling, and it was just really tough.
Yeah, I remember. I actually felt like they were going to win that series after they won Game 6 in Tampa. I remember I was confident, but I was proven wrong there. But yeah, the other series in the Pacific Division is San Jose and Vegas. This was a series that a lot of people had trouble picking, including myself. Both these teams struggled down the stretch. I took the Golden Knights in 6. How about you?
Wow. I went back and forth on this series, but I just can't get around. I can't get around the scoring power of the Sharks. And I think that Vegas will give them everything, and it will go 7 games. And these teams hate each other, and Vegas is a tough team to go against. And I know that Fleury is a better goalie, and I think Fleury deserves to win the Vezina this year. They're probably going to give it to Vasilevsky. I think Fleury meant so much to his team. But I don't know. I just can't get around Evander Kane, Timo Meier, Pavelski, Logan Couture, Brent Burns, or Brent the Caveman Burns, Carlson, I don't know what he's bringing to the series. Thomas Hurdle. Don't forget Hurdle led them. I think he was like second in goals with 36 goals, right behind Pavelski.
Yep.
I just think that their skating and their style, I think their offensive skill is going to win out in the series. And Jones, I know he had a terrible save percentage, but he can make the saves. He did take them to a Stanley Cup final, and I just think when push comes to shove, I think they're a little better, just a little better in certain areas, and I think that will get them through. In 7.
Yeah, San Jose in 7 would not surprise me at all. This was the toughest series for me to pick. Actually, this one and the one I'm about to bring up, I think is the best first round series, and that is Winnipeg and St. Louis. I took the Jets in 7, but I don't feel good about it at all. How about you?
That's what I did also. So did I. And I when I was writing my preview, and it was more like I didn't do a lot of analysis. I looked at the teams, and it was just like, I was so back and forth on it, and I just feel like Winnipeg has a lot on the line here, and it's nothing against St. Louis. And Binnington is a great story. He was not supposed to do this, and comes out. He's 20. They call him up. He's 25 years old, and he's going to finish probably runner up for the Calder. He'll be in the top 3 for the Calder. But I just feel like this is a series for Winnipeg that they have to win. Yeah, with Kevin Hayes, with the trade for Kevin Hayes, with Kyle Cotter, Patrick Laine will be a real important guy. He had a disappointing year, very streaky. Needs somebody to get him the puck. But I still think I think Scheifele and Wheeler are the best players in the series.
I agree.
And nothing against Tarasenko and O'Reilly, but I just think I think the Winnipeg skill guys are a little better. So I went 7 with Winnipeg.
Yeah, I took Winnipeg in 7. I think Mark Scheifele is the best player in this series, with honorable mentions to Wheeler and to O'Reilly and to Tarasenko. Me and Buchacross actually talked about Patrick Laine and what a weird year he's had. It's funny that you mentioned him. Me and him talked about Patrick Laine for a minute.
Did Bucci say anything about Kyle Connor? Because I think Kyle Connor is a really good player. He's a great skater. I think that he's very underrated. Nobody talks about Kyle Connor or Jacob Trouba, who I think actually is the best in the series as well. I think those two are key players as well.
Jacob Trouba, I think, is the best defensive player in the series. You're right. And I don't recall him mentioning Kyle Connor. I think I mentioned Kyle Connor in my preview podcast in the first part I did. The one where I did all the round by round. I think I mentioned Kyle Connor. I don't think he did. He mentioned Scheifele and Wheeler, and we talked about Laine, obviously, and Hellebuck.
I think that it's one of those series that it might depend on style, and it could go peaks and valleys. Winnipeg, they really like to play fast pace. Blues, they can play a different tempo. And the Winnipeg will not back down. So there could be some physicality. I think there will be some scrums. I think it will be one of those series where momentum goes back and forth.
Yeah, that's going to be a great series. And then the last one is Predators and the Stars. Bucci took Dallas. I'm on Nashville. What about you?
I was really tempted to take Dallas. I do not like the way the Nashville Predators finished the season. But I still feel like they've got guys that can perform in the playoffs. When I'm talking about Ryan Johansson, when I'm talking about Arvidsson, who's a pain in the butt, when I'm talking about even PK Subban, who's been a real disappointment for them, and Roman Josi, these guys know how to perform when it counts, and I just think that Rene will step up his game, and I don't know what I know Zuccarello is supposed to play, and I think Dallas can make it interesting. But I did go with Nashville in 6 games. But I like Bucci having the guts to pick the Stars. That's a gutsy pick.
I believe Don took the Stars too on his podcast, but I have to re-listen to Don's. But I think he was leaning Dallas as well. And I think a lot of people on the NHL Network took Dallas. I forget who exactly, but I saw that's a very popular upset pick.
They've got some great skaters. And I'm not just talking about Tyler Seguin or Radulov. Radek Fox actually is providing some nice support for them. But you got Heiskanen. Heiskanen's going to be one of the defensemen that compete for Norris. He's a great skater.
Yeah, I like him.
That's another guy that you have to watch. And Essa Lindell. So think that's why it's a better blue line. So it really could come down to those guys like Philip Forsberg and Arvidsson. Which players up front are going to perform? Can Ben Bishop steal the series? Can he outperform Rinne? That's what's really going to come down to.
Yes, I agree with you. And the fact that Bishop's been hurt so often this season, even though he'll be a candidate to win the Vezina, that concerns me. Rinne, I think we see both backup goalies in this series. I said that to Bucci.
I think you're right.
Yeah, he said good call. That was his answer to that.
I was thinking the same thing because when I look at the way Rinne's performed, and the fact that Bishop's always hurt, I am pretty sure that you're going to see Anton Khudobin at some point in the series, maybe even by game 2 or 3. And Khudobin, he has over a 927 percentage too.
Yeah, he's had a good year.
Well. Yeah.
And I like Juicy Saros from Nashville.
If it came down to Juicy Saros and Khudobin, I would favor the Stars. I gotta be honest.
I disagree. I just think Saros is a little better. Before we wrap up, I want to talk about the awards real quick. Who do you think wins the Hart?
Wow, I think they're definitely going to give it to Nikita Kucherov. I mean, he did put up just an outstanding season. When he put up 128 points, there's been all sorts of PR put out by media.com. I really feel like it should go to Crosby or it should go to Marchand. But Marchand won't get nominated. You know that.
Yeah.
I feel like those two guys were more valuable this year, and I don't think Patrick Kane will get nominated because the Blackhawks missed the playoffs, and I don't think McDavid's getting nominated. And I know Drexel's not going to get in there, and I don't think McKinnon's going to be up there either because of the points that were put up by Rantanen. So I feel like it should go to Crosby or it should go to Marchand, but Kucherov will win.
I think Kucherov will win, and I think Kucherov 128 points is nothing to sniff at. I think he deserves it. How about the Vezina?
Wow. I really like Fleury. I know that he was hurt, but I think he finished with 8 shutouts. He had the wins. He was so important to that team. And they won some games with Subban. I just think he was the most important goalie to his team. I want to hear what you think. What do you think about the Vezina?
This was the toughest award for me to pick. I went with Darcy Kemper because he kept Arizona relevant in the West. We talked about Arizona before. I went with Kemper, but it was a very tough call. Fleury's obviously under my consideration, as well as Vasilevsky and even Sergei Bobrovsky. But like I said, tough call, but I decided to go with Darcy Kemper.
I'd have no problem seeing him get nominated for what he did. What he had, like 22 or 23 starts, 23 of the last 24. I mean, he definitely deserves inclusion.
Yeah, I really like Kemper. What about the Norris?
You got to go with Giordano. And it's no disrespect to Morgan Riley and John Carlson, and I'm leaving out Brent Burns. And I think that it'll probably be those top 3 guys, but I think Giordano was the best defenseman all year. When he put up like 75 or 76 points, great plus bias, really could control the game. I like Mark Giordano.
Giordano's a good choice. I went with Brent Burns. He really had a good year for San Jose. He led the Sharks in scoring.
What, he wound up with 85 or 86 points?
Ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
I know Carlson led Ottawa in scoring a couple times in the past. But I decided to go with Brent Burns. Honorable mention to Giordano. Honorable mention to Carlson from Washington. So, yeah, there are some good candidates there. How about the Jack Adams?
I think it's going to go to Trotz. And I can't disagree with it. Barry Trotz, for what he was able to do, squeeze out that many wins with that team and, turn that system that they play. And I mean, there are other good candidates. I think Rick Tocchet's an excellent candidate, even though Coyotes just missed out on the playoffs. I like the job that Julia did with Montreal, too. There are other teams. There's probably a couple others. I'm sure John Cooper will probably get nominated think there's just better candidates. So I pick Trotz.
I agree with you on Trotz. Cooper's an honorable mention for me. Trottett's an honorable mention. One more honorable mention to me has to be Claude Julien. Nobody thought Montreal was going to be in contention. Butcher Cross pointed out that Montreal had more points than Vegas this year, and Montreal's not even in the playoffs. So Claude Julien gets one of my honorable mention picks because the Canadiens were supposed to be really bad. I actually thought that Claude Julien had a chance to be fired. If they had the same number of points as the Rangers, do you think he still has a job? If the Canadiens finish this season with 78 points, do you think Claude Julien's still their coach?
I definitely don't. I didn't think they were going to, score some of the goals they scored. I didn't think Max Domi. I knew Domi would do better in Montreal. I didn't see him putting up the 75 or 76 points he had. I didn't have Thomas Tatar putting up the numbers he put up. Petrie had a real good year. Price bounced back. Yeah, one guy that I left out, and I really do think he deserves to be in the top three, Craig Berube, when he took over for St. Louis.
You're right.
For St. Louis.
I didn't even talk about him with Bucci. And then another guy that Bucci mentioned is Carolina's new coach.
Oh yeah. I mean, Ron Brindamore, of course. I mean, this is the problem with these awards. You could always make the case for about five, especially when it comes to coaches, and we're doing it right now.
Yeah, and then the other one is Bill Peters, the former Carolina coach that's now with Calgary, and they're the 1 seed in the West. Bill Peters deserves some love in that conversation.
With the goaltender that they have, with the
that
way
too.
he's handled that team, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's probably the toughest award, or not the toughest award, but we both have Trotz, but meaning of the outside of the Trotz division in terms of the finalists, it's going to be tough to gauge. And what about the Selke?
I know the Pens are pushing for Crosby, and I think Crosby is one of the best overall players, in terms of what he could do. He could do it all. But I just have a hard time, picking a guy that doesn't really kill penalties a lot, even though he's great on faceoffs, can play every aspect. I still say it's Patrice Bergeron's award. I mean, when I look at what he does every year, he's just amazing.
I took Bergeron too, and I think Bucci said Ryan O'Reilly for the Blues, which isn't a bad pick either. He's been their best player this year.
That's a real good pick.
That's
actually a real good pick on his part because, he first off, I think he had the most points he ever put up. When he put up 77 points, he led them, I think, in scoring.
Yeah, he had more points than Tarasenko.
Yeah, that's actually a really good pick. He's gotten votes before for it, but where he's finished, I think, in the top maybe 10. Because I always look at the vote breakdown. He'll get more votes this year.
Yeah, but I'm still going to take Bergeron. I feel like that's his award to lose.
Yes.
So we have a couple more minutes until the lottery, so I want to get these in. What do you make of Quenneville going to Florida?
I think that was going to happen because he's got a relationship there with Dale Talent, and so it was going to make sense for him. And it's a team that's got talent. I mean, when you look at Sasha Barkov, when he tied Bore's record with 94 points. I know Trocheck was hurt this year. That did not help them. He came back, but they've got a lot of talent there. What they need is a coach that teaches defense, though. They have defensemen on that team. They do. But let's face it. I watched the Panthers games, and I'm not saying that Bob Bugler can't be a good coach, Madison.
Yeah.
But watching them defend, and watching them take penalty after penalty when you have Huberdeau, you have Hoffman also, Yandel. I just couldn't understand. It was like, and Trocheck ripped into the team after they had the lousy game where they were awful. So I felt like he was definitely going to lose his job.
Yeah, that one didn't really surprise me. Them in Buffalo, I feel like always change coaches, and in Buffalo, it was rumored that Todd McClellan was going to get that job, but I don't think that's a done deal yet.
It's not done yet because there's been nothing official. Because I had seen it on Twitter, just like you, always watching on timeline. I don't understand You're just going to keep, just recycling coaches. I mean, and Housley was bad. I understand that. And some of the stuff that Marty Biron said on his Twitter, I was just like, I was blown away by it. Marty Biron covered the Sabres, and he was like, it's about time. And, I was just thinking, wow, he really he threw him under the bus. It was just like, I feel like there's something wrong with Sabres ownership. They need to get it together.
Yeah, I thought they were going to go hard after Joel, but Joel ended up taking the Florida job, and I said that to Bucci, too. I thought they were going to go hard after Joel.
My best friend, Brian, I mean, I've known him since St. John's, and we talk about Sabres all the time. He's a huge Sabres fan, and he really wanted Quenneville, but, once the Florida job came open, there's no way they were going to be able to get him. You don't have to bring in a veteran coach. You don't have to do that. You could always. There's a number of coaches out there. Look at the jobs, right? That our coach did, that Quinn did, the Rangers.
Quinn was great, I thought.
How about the coach for Dallas?
Oh, Jim Montgomery, they're in the playoffs.
Yeah, got them to the playoffs after. And think about, he did a great job down the stretch because, when they picked up Zuccarello, it was to add that offense, and he gets hurt, then he gets hurt again, and they're finding ways to win games. So you don't have to. It doesn't always have to go the route. You got to bring in the veteran. Yes, they do need a veteran, but they've tried Dalsma. That didn't work. They've tried so many different things. They fired their GM. They have Murray as their GM. Now they have this other guy as the GM. I mean, at some point you got to have a stable situation there.
Yeah, and you can make a case it's either them or Ottawa for the most dysfunctional team in the NHL, right?
Unbelievable. Edmonton also. I'll include Edmonton.
Edmonton, yeah, I forgot about them. And it's funny, it's easy to forget about Edmonton because of McDavid and Draisaitl, but they're dysfunctional too. They're probably the most dysfunctional team in the West. A couple more. Ray Shero got extended with the Devils. I thought that was deserved. But John Hines, do you think he's a coach that could get fired this offseason?
No, I'll tell you why. They gave John Hines an extension. I remember my Devil blogger was all over that. I saw it, and it just goes to show where the Devils are as far as their organization. Like, if they were run under Lou Lamoriello, do you think all this stuff would be going on? I mean, they're giving extensions. They get Ray Shero extension when he did nothing last summer. Are you kidding me? Why?
I like Ray Shero, though. I think he's a good general manager. He stole Taylor Hall.
Look, I understand that, and I think the trade for Kyle Palmieri was a good trade. It was a real brilliant trade. I mean, remember I wanted the Rangers to go after him. I thought the Vatanen trade for Henrik for Vatanen, that looked like it was going to be a good trade. It worked out last year. It was just it's kind of down this year, and he's been hurt. But they have to make some moves because I've read some Taylor Hall quotes. Their breakup day. Some of the quotes there just reading between the lines. I feel like Taylor Hall's candidate to be traded this summer.
You think Taylor Hall's gone? Interesting. Speaking of players that could possibly be traded in the metro area, Chris Kreider, do you buy the rumor that he's going to possibly be dealt this summer? Because I saw somebody throw that out on Twitter the other day. I'm not really buying it. I want them to resign him. What about you?
You got to keep him. I'll tell you why. I'll just be real quick. Speed, skill, strength, net presence, leadership, power forward. They trade him, right?
I don't think they're going to do it.
Rebuild harder. It's just going to make them rebuild longer.
I don't think they're going to do it.
Yep.
Yeah, so I don't think they're going to trade either him or Zibanejad. Do you think it's a no-brainer John Davidson gets this job?
I do.
Me too.
Because I think Columbus is going to get eliminated. I think JD's done a real good job there. I think the Columbus has some really good players, but I just feel like they're about to lose like so many of their guys. I mean, Panarin's probably going to Florida, or he's coming to New York. Bobrovsky's probably going to go to Florida because Luongo might retire. Duchesne, I don't see Duchesne staying there. They're going to lose so many guys. Zingo, you think he's going to stay? McQuaid. I mean, they're going to lose everybody, and JD to New York is a home run.
I think it's a home run too.
You think he doesn't? You really think he's not going to think about the reception that he got when he came back to MC that event with Sam Rosen?
Oh my God, he got that big hand, and you know who's going to be happy if the Rangers hired John Davidson, Sam Rosen.
Oh my God, I just feel like I was there for it, and JD is one of the most beloved former Rangers. Don't forget he was the goalie for the 1979 team, and he's and of course he was the John Madden of hockey, and he's just a brilliant mind. And God, if there was anybody that could have run the NHL, all these crazy rule interpretations, JD would have been the perfect choice for that.
Yeah, I think he's going to get this job too. And a couple more quick ones. Who do you think wins the lottery tonight? I'm going to say that Colorado does, courtesy of the Senators. I just think they get one. I just have a feeling that the dysfunction in Ottawa is going to keep growing, and people are going to mock the Senators tonight on Twitter.
I hate to agree, Hattie, but they have such bad luck, the Ottawa Senators, that how could Colorado not win this lottery and wind up with Jack Hughes on their roster? If I had to make an outside pick, I would say the Detroit Red Wings. They have a good percentage. They're fourth or whatever they are. They're right before the Rangers, I think. And I can see that their original 16. So that would be my outside choice.
My outside choice is also Detroit. If you ask me for an outside choice, I would say Detroit too. Jack Hughes, who's your player comp? Who's your player comp for Hughes?
We must be sharing a Brave, I think. I don't know.
Yeah. Bouchacross threw out Clayton Keller as his comp for Jack Hughes. Who do you see him being like?
Wow. Yeah, I don't really have a comp for him right now. He's a great skater, and he's really creative. I mean, Keller was kind of a disappointment this year, but he just couldn't score goals. I'm not sure. I'm not sure who he reminds me of. I got to watch a little more of him. So I don't want to throw a comp out there for him.
Okay, quickly, because we have 2 minutes until the lottery. Off the hockey subject, St. John's, Chris Mullen, you're a big St. John's guy. Mullen resigns. It's official. Who do you think gets the job?
If I had to guess, and I hope I'm wrong, probably Bobby Hurley, because he's got a relationship with the AD. I think they should choose Tim Clues. I wrote up about the whole situation. I didn't think that what they did was right. I didn't like upstaging the national championship game. I didn't like that either. I love Chris Mullen, though. That will never change. Look, not every great player is made to be a coach. It happens.
Yep. I actually disagree with you about Hurley. I think he'd be a great hire, and I think he got a lot out of Arizona State. But I don't think he's going to get the job. I just think he stays there. Cluis would be an interesting choice, but I think Bobby Hurley's a better coach than Cluis. I have no idea where St. John's is going to go.
I wish we had more time to debate, but, we can always talk in another show or another podcast we can do on Twitter. I'll give you some more ideas on why I feel the way I do. But I want to thank you for having me.
Oh, of course.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was a good one. I'll probably have you on within the next couple weeks. Maybe we'll talk more playoffs. We'll do a little NBA as well. Have a good night, Derek.